My daughter said, "The best wedding gift you could give us would be to disappear from our lives permanently. Or maybe check yourself into one of those nursing homes where you belonged." She smiled that cold, cruel smile standing in the kitchen I had paid for wearing the wedding dress I had funded. What she didn't know was that I held a power she thought was entirely hers. I would leave just as she demanded. But before I did, I would make a single phone call, and that one call would be enough to watch her perfect little world crumble. Subscribe and drop a comment telling me what country you're watching from. Trust me, you'll want to stick around for this one, because the bombshell I discovered about my own daughter will make your jaw drop, no matter where in the world you are. Scarlett's words hit me like ice water as she stood in my kitchen, her wedding dress hanging behind her, like a twisted symbol of everything wrong with this family. Let's be real, Dad. You're dead weight. The best wedding gift you could give us disappear permanently. Check yourself into a nursing home where you belong. She smiled that cold smile I'd grown to hate. Behind her, Damon nodded agreement without even looking ashamed. "This is supposed to be our special weekend," he added. "Your negativity ruins everything." My negativity I'd spent all day helping with wedding preparations, arranging flowers, coordinating caterers, listening to Scarlett's endless complaints. My only crime was suggesting we didn't need dolphin-shaped ice sculptures. "Where am I supposed to go?" I asked, voice steady despite the storm inside. Scarlett examined her manicured nails with theatrical indifference. "Don't know, don't care. Hotel senior facility anywhere but here. This is my house now, and I'm done pretending to tolerate you." Her house. I looked around the kitchen where I'd cooked family dinners for 6 months. Granite countertops I'd helped choose. Custom cabinets my $95,000 down payment made possible. "Actually," Damon cleared his throat, "it's more Scarlett's house. She handles the finances, makes improvements. You just gave us some money once." Some money once. $95,000 of my life savings reduced to spare change. Standing in that kitchen, surrounded by the life I'd built for these ungrateful strangers, something shifted inside me. Not broke, shifted, like gears clicking into place after years of grinding. "You're right," I said softly. Scarlett looked surprised. She'd expected tears, pleading emotional manipulation she could dismiss as Dad being dramatic. "I should go. I'll pack and be gone within the hour." Damon actually looked relieved. "Probably for the best. We can talk after the honeymoon when things cool down." Talk after the honeymoon. As if this was a seating arrangement dispute instead of my daughter declaring me worthless. Upstairs in the guest room, never. My room, always the guest room. Because guests leave, I packed while listening to them plan my space's renovation. Scarlett wanted a yoga studio. Damon preferred a home office. Neither felt guilt about discarding the man who'd made their perfect life possible. I paused at Eleanor's photograph. 43 years of marriage, and she never once made me feel unwanted in my own home. "Don't worry, sweetheart," I whispered to her image. "I'm not going down without a fight." But first I had phone calls to make. Sitting in my car outside their house, no scratch. That outside the house my money had bought, I pulled out my phone and dialed Iris Blackwood's emergency number. The irony wasn't lost on me that I was calling from the driveway of a home I was no longer welcome in. "Iris, it's Ezra Whitmore. I need you to pull the documentation on Scarlett's house purchase. All of it." There was a pause. Even at 9:30 on a Friday night, Iris's legal mind was already working. Has something happened with Scarlett and Damon? I told her everything. Scarlett's cruel ultimatum about disappearing permanently. Damon's dismissive attitude about my some-money-once contribution. The casual way they'd erased my sacrifice like chalk on a sidewalk. Iris listened without interruption, though I could hear her typing furiously. "Ezra, I've been worried about this exact scenario for months. The way they've been treating your investment as a gift, rather than what it actually was." "What do you mean, what it actually was?" My heart started beating faster. Another pause, longer this time. "You don't remember signing those additional documents. The ones I insisted on after you expressed concerns about Scarlett's spending habits." My mind raced back 3 years. The mountain of paperwork. Iris's insistence on protecting my interests. My focus on keeping peace in the family rather than reading every detail. "Iris, please tell me you protected me somehow." "Oh, Ezra, the $95,000 wasn't a gift. Legally, it was an investment loan, with your name on the deed as co-owner. Scarlett never returned the acknowledgement forms I sent multiple times. In the eyes of the law, you own 45% of that house." I nearly dropped the phone. Through the kitchen window, I could see Scarlett showing off her wedding dress to someone on video chat, probably her maid of honor. She was laughing, gesticulating wildly, completely oblivious to the conversation that was about to change her life forever. Are you absolutely certain about this? Dead certain. Scarlett kept forgetting to sign the paperwork, and you were so focused on family harmony that you never pressed the issue. But the mortgage company has you listed as co-borrower. The deed shows your ownership stake. It's completely legal and binding. I watched Damon appear in the kitchen window, opening champagne, celebrating their freedom from the burdensome father-in-law. The man was actually toasting my departure. Iris, hypothetically speaking, what would happen if I wanted to sell my share of the house? Well, as co-owner, you'd have every right to force a sale. The other owners would have first right of refusal, of course. They could buy you out at current market value. And if they couldn't afford to buy me out, then the house goes on the market and proceeds are split according to ownership percentages. The house was worth at least $300,000 now, maybe more, given Carmel's insane real estate market. 45% of that would be over $130,000, far more than my original investment. Iris, I need you to prepare a notice of intent to sell. I want it delivered first thing Monday morning. Ezra, are you absolutely sure about this? Once we start this process? I've never been more sure of anything in my life. They want me to disappear. Fine, but I'm taking my 45% with me. After hanging up, I sat in the growing darkness, watching my daughter and son-in-law toast their future in the house I'd made possible. They had no idea that in less than 72 hours, their perfect little world was going to crumble like a house of cards in a hurricane. But first I had one more call to make. My second call was to Sunset Gardens Country Club. The irony was perfect calling to destroy my daughter's wedding reception from the driveway of the house that was about to be ripped away from her. Sunset Gardens, this is Jessica speaking. Hi, Jessica. This is Ezra Whitmore. I need to cancel tomorrow's wedding reception. Cancel. But sir, it's less than 18 hours away. The food has been prepared, the staff scheduled. I understand, and I'm prepared to pay all cancellation fees. I signed the contract and put down the deposit. I believe I have the right to make changes. A rustling of papers. Yes, the contract is under your name, but surely you want to speak with the bride and groom first. No need. The happy couple made it very clear that my involvement in their lives is no longer welcome, so I'm simply honoring their wishes. 20 minutes later, I was checked into the Hampton Inn across town, ordering room service, and feeling something I hadn't experienced in years, the satisfaction of taking control of my own life. For the first time since Eleanor's death, I felt truly free. The hotel room was modest but clean, with a view of Carmel's twinkling lights below. I ordered a steak dinner, opened a bottle of wine from the minibar, and settled into the comfortable chair by the window. Tomorrow, while Scarlett and Damon scrambled to explain to 200 guests why there was no reception, I'd be having a peaceful breakfast and reading the Sunday paper like a civilized person. I thought about Eleanor, how she would have handled this situation. She'd always been the peacemaker in our family, the one who smoothed over conflicts and found compromises. But even Eleanor had her limits. I remembered the time she'd cut off her own sister for 6 months, after a particularly cruel comment about our inability to have more children after Scarlett. Sometimes, Ezra, she'd told me, then love means setting boundaries, even with family. I raised my wine glass to her memory. You were right, sweetheart. As always, the room service arrived promptly. The steak was perfectly cooked, the wine smooth and warming. For the first time in months, I wasn't walking on eggshells, wasn't calculating my words to avoid Scarlett's wrath or Damon's condescension. I was just a man enjoying a quiet dinner in peace. I thought about the house, about my 45% ownership that they had no idea existed. Tomorrow's wedding would proceed, but without the lavish reception they'd planned. The 200 guests would witness their vows, then awkwardly disperse when they realized there was no celebration to follow. Part of me felt a twinge of guilt. These were innocent people who'd traveled from across the country, who'd bought gifts and arranged childcare and booked hotel rooms. But then I remembered Scarlett's words. You're nothing but dead weight. The best wedding gift you could give us would be to disappear permanently. Well, I was giving her exactly what she'd asked for. The phone started ringing at exactly 11:47 p.m. What did you do? Scarlett's voice exploded through the phone so violently I had to hold it away from my ear. What the hell did you do, Dad? I calmly set down my wine glass and muted the hotel television. I honored your request, sweetheart. You wanted me to disappear from your family, so I disappeared. The country club called. They said you canceled our reception. Our wedding reception. There are 200 people expecting dinner tomorrow. I'm sure there are. That does sound like quite a predicament. A predicament. Her voice cracked with hysteria. Dad, this is our wedding day. You can't just destroy our wedding because you're upset about where you're sleeping. I almost laughed. Still trying to minimize what she'd done, still trying to make this about sleeping arrangements, instead of her telling me I was worthless dead weight. Scarlett, honey, I didn't destroy your wedding. You can still walk down that aisle tomorrow. You can still say your vows. I simply canceled the reception I was paying for. Paying for what do you mean paying for? Here it was. The moment of truth. The reception that was costing me $22,000. Did you think the country club was donating their services out of the goodness of their hearts? Silence. Complete stunned silence. 22,000. Her voice was barely a whisper now. The venue. The catering. The flowers. The band. The photographer. Did you think it was all free, Scarlett? Did you think money just materialized because you decided to have a fairy tale wedding? I could hear Damon in the background, his voice tight with panic. How much did she say? 22,000? For one day? But we can't tell 200 people there's no reception. Scarlett was crying now, ugly sobbing sounds that might have made me rush over with comfort 6 months ago. People flew in from across the country. My college friends, Damon's family from Boston, your old neighbors from Pacific Grove. You're both intelligent adults. I'm sure you'll figure something out. I hear McDonald's caters now. This isn't funny. Damon grabbed the phone. Ezra, this is insane. You're destroying our wedding day over a family argument. Family argument. My voice turned cold. Your wife told me the best wedding gift I could give would be to disappear from your family permanently. She called me dead weight. You agreed with her. This isn't an argument, Damon. This is me finally understanding exactly where I stand. She didn't mean it literally, didn't she? Because it sounded pretty literal when she suggested I check myself into a nursing home where I belong. More frantic whispering in the background. I could picture them in their kitchen, my kitchen, the one my money had paid for, trying to figure out damage control for their perfect wedding day. Look, Damon tried a different approach. We can work this out after the wedding, but right now we need that reception. Can you please call the country club back and tell them what? That it was all a misunderstanding, that I didn't really mean to cancel the $22,000 party I was paying for. Yes, exactly that. But it wasn't a misunderstanding, Damon. It was a very deliberate business decision made by the person who was financing everything. Scarlett grabbed the phone back. How could you do this to us? We trusted you. We thought you loved us. Trusted me? You've been treating me like an ATM for 3 years, and love. I stood up and walked to the hotel window, looking down at the peaceful streets below. Love doesn't tell someone they're dead weight. Love doesn't suggest their father belongs in a nursing home. Love doesn't dismiss $135,000 as some money once. $135,000. Damon's voice was faint now. Oh yes, the house down payment plus all those little emergencies over the years. The car repairs, the credit card payments, the grocery money, the utility bills. Did you think the money fairy was leaving cash under your pillows? The silence stretched so long I thought they'd hung up. Finally, Scarlett spoke, her voice small and defeated. What do you want from us? I want exactly what you offered me tonight. I want to disappear from your family, and when I go, I'm taking my money with me. Your wedding will be the least of your problems. There was a knock on my hotel room door at 9 a.m. sharp. Through the peephole, I saw Damon in his wrinkled tuxedo shirt, looking like he hadn't slept in days. His bow tie hung loose around his neck, and his usually perfect hair was disheveled. We need to talk, he said when I opened the door. Shouldn't you be getting ready for your big day? I stepped aside to let him in, genuinely curious about what desperate plan they'd concocted overnight. That's what I need to talk about. He pushed past me into the room, his eyes red-rimmed and wild. Scarlett's having a complete breakdown. She's locked herself in the bathroom and won't come out. Her friends are asking questions we can't answer. The whole thing is falling apart. Before I could respond, I heard familiar footsteps in the hallway. Scarlett appeared in the doorway, still in her silk pajamas, her wedding makeup half done and streaked with tears, but her eyes burned with pure fury. You selfish bastard, she spat, pushing past Damon into my room. How dare you destroy my wedding day? Good morning to you too, daughter. I thought you were having a breakdown in the bathroom. Don't you dare patronize me. Her voice was venomous, all pretense of the sweet bride gone. Do you have any idea what you've done? My friends think we're broke. Damon's family is humiliated. The photographer is asking if we're still paying him. I poured myself coffee, deliberately calm. I'm sorry to hear about your predicament. My predicament? She stepped closer, her face twisted with rage. You ruined everything. Everything I planned, everything I dreamed of. All because you couldn't handle being told the truth. The truth. I set down my cup and looked at my daughter, really looked at her. What truth is that, Scarlett? That you're a burden. That we're tired of walking on eggshells around you. That this is our house now. Our life, and we don't need you dragging us down anymore. There it was. The real Scarlett, not the manipulative version who cried and pleaded on the phone, but the cold, calculating woman who'd been using me for years. Thank you for being honest, I said quietly. Now let me be honest with you. Damon tried to interrupt. Ezra, maybe we should all calm down. Shut up, Damon, Scarlett snapped without taking her eyes off me. This is between me and my father. Your father who gave you $135,000 over 3 years, I said. Your father who sold his dream home to give you a down payment. Your father who's been subsidizing your lifestyle since the day you moved in. And we're grateful. No, you're not. My voice hardened. You're entitled. You think you deserve my money, my sacrifice, my support without giving anything back. Not respect, not gratitude, not even basic human decency. Scarlett's laugh was bitter and cruel. Basic human decency? You mean like not destroying your daughter's wedding out of spite? I mean like not telling your father he's dead weight and should disappear permanently? Maybe because it's true. The words exploded out of her. Maybe because you are a burden. Maybe because we'd be better off without you constantly judging us, constantly making us feel guilty for living our lives. The hotel room went silent. Even Damon looked shocked at her viciousness. Well then, I said softly, you're about to get exactly what you want. I walked to the window, looking out at Carmel's beautiful coastline. You see, there's something you don't know about your house. Something about those legal documents you never bothered to read. What are you talking about? Scarlett's voice had lost some of its venom, replaced by wariness. I own 45% of your house, and I'm putting it on the market. The color drained from her face. That's impossible. My lawyer made sure to protect my investment. You kept forgetting to sign the acknowledgement forms. The deed shows my ownership stake. It's completely legal and binding. Scarlett staggered backward. You can't do this. I can and I will. You want me to disappear, fine. But I'm taking my $135,000 with me. We'll fight this, she whispered. With what money you can barely afford your current expenses. I turned back to face them both. You better hope the wedding guests brought generous gifts. You're going to need them. My phone rang at 2 p.m. while I enjoyed peaceful hotel lunch. Mr. Whitmore, this is Detective Rodriguez with Carmel Police. I'm calling about an elder abuse report. We need to schedule a welfare check. My blood boiled. Those manipulative snakes had called the police. Detective, I'm in full possession of my mental faculties. Probably thinking clearer than I have in years. Good to hear, sir. But we must follow up. The caller claimed family members are concerned about erratic behavior and cognitive decline. Can you meet tomorrow morning? I felt pure fury at my daughter's latest manipulation. Absolutely. I have quite a lot to discuss about financial abuse, just not the kind my family reported. After scheduling, I immediately called Iris. They called police on me, Iris, claimed cognitive decline. Those bastards. Her professional composure cracked. Ezra, I've been researching your case. I found something that changes everything. Meet me at my office in an hour. Bring all your financial records. An hour later, Iris spread documents across her desk like crime scene evidence. I've been digging into Scarlett and Damon's finances. I discovered something explosive. She pulled out a thick folder. Do you remember applying for Medicaid assistance for low-income seniors? No, I never qualified. Too many assets. Iris's smile was predatory. That's what I thought. But according to these records, you've been receiving Medicaid benefits for 3 years. Someone applied claiming you had no assets or income. My stomach dropped. Impossible. It gets worse. Benefits were direct deposited into a bank account Scarlett opened using your social security number. She's collected $45,000 in fraudulent Medicaid payments. The room spun. She what? Medicare fraud, Ezra. Federal crime. She hid your assets from the government while collecting poverty benefits. Penalties include paying back money, plus fines double or triple the stolen amount. I stared at documents showing deposits I'd never seen, medical claims I'd never filed. Systematic fraud happening under my nose. How did you find this? Preparing your house case, I ran comprehensive background checks. These Medicaid payments kept appearing linked to your Social Security number, going to accounts you didn't know existed. Can we prove she did this? Iris produced another document. Scarlett's signature on all applications. She listed herself as your legal guardian and financial power of attorney, which you never granted. She claimed you had dementia and lived in poverty. The irony was staggering. While I gave them my life savings, Scarlett simultaneously told the government I was destitute and mentally incompetent. What happens now? We have leverage beyond house sales. Medicare fraud carries up to 10 years prison and massive financial penalties. She'll pay back $45,000 plus fines, reaching $135,000. I thought about Scarlett's vicious words this morning, her cruel dismissal, her cold calculation. If I report to federal authorities, she and Damon both go to prison. Credit destroyed. They lose everything, including any house chance. I looked out at Carmel's peaceful streets, where normal families had normal Sunday dinners, not discovering their children were federal criminals. Detective Rodriguez meets tomorrow about their elder abuse claims. Iris's smile was razor sharp. Perfect timing. We'll have quite a different story. She gathered documents into neat stacks. Ezra, this changes everything. They're not just ungrateful children. This makes them federal criminals. Detective Rodriguez was younger than I'd expected, maybe 40, with intelligent eyes and the patient demeanor that probably served him well in family disputes. We met at the police station Monday morning, and I'd brought my entire financial file. Mr. Whitmore, the person who called, seemed genuinely concerned about your welfare. They claimed you were showing signs of cognitive decline and making irrational financial decisions. I'm sure they did sound concerned, Detective. My daughter is very good at sounding worried when it suits her purposes. I spread my bank statements across his desk. In the past 3 years, I've given my daughter and son-in-law $135,000. Would you like to see the documentation? His eyebrows rose as he examined the papers. Check after check, wire transfers, credit card payments made on their behalf. A clear pattern of financial dependency. This is substantial, he said carefully. It is. And when I finally set boundaries about how they treat me, they decided I must be mentally incompetent. I played Scarlett's voicemail from yesterday. Dad, this is insane behavior. Normal people don't destroy their family's wedding over hurt feelings. We're worried about you. Detective Rodriguez listened, taking notes. Has there been any history of cognitive issues? None whatsoever. I manage my own finances, maintain my own independence. The only thing that's changed is I stopped letting them take advantage of me. 20 minutes later, he was satisfied I was mentally competent and financially savvy. I'm closing this case as unfounded, Mr. Whitmore. Actually, Detective, there is a case of financial abuse here, just not the kind they reported. 2 hours later, I sat across from Scarlett and Damon in Iris's law office. They'd arrived late, looking like they'd been arguing. Scarlett's eyes were red-rimmed. Damon kept checking his phone. The police matter has been resolved. Iris began coldly. Detective Rodriguez found no evidence of cognitive decline. However, we have discovered evidence of actual crimes. She spread Medicare fraud documents across the table like evidence at trial. Scarlett, do you recognize these signatures? My daughter's face went pale. I don't know what those are. Federal documents you signed claiming your father was destitute and suffering dementia. You collected $45,000 in fraudulent Medicaid benefits over 3 years. That's impossible, Damon whispered. While your father-in-law gave you his life savings, you simultaneously told the federal government he was penniless and mentally incompetent. Scarlett was shaking. Your signature is on every document. Medicare fraud is a federal felony punishable by up to 10 years in prison. The room went silent. I watched Scarlett's face cycle through denial, fear, then cold calculation. You can't prove I knew what I was signing. Bank records show you used this money for luxury purchases. Spa treatments, designer clothing, expensive dinners. Damon slumped. How much trouble are we in? You'll owe $45,000 in stolen benefits, plus penalties typically double or triple that amount. Potentially $135,000 in fines, plus prison time. Scarlett's mask slipped. You bastard, she hissed at me. You're sending your own daughter to prison. Your choices did that, Scarlett. She stood abruptly, This is insane. We're family. Family doesn't commit federal crimes using their father's identity. Iris leaned forward. You have 30 days. Option 1, surrender to federal authorities voluntarily. Option 2, I file criminal complaints and they arrest you. Scarlett was crying tears of rage, not remorse. You're destroying our lives over money. No, I stood up. You destroyed your lives when you stole from the government using my name, when you called me dead weight. I looked at my daughter and saw a stranger, a criminal who'd systematically defrauded the government while taking my money. 30 days before I report you to federal authorities. 30 days passed like a slow-motion avalanche. I watched from my comfortable hotel suite as Scarlett and Damon's perfect world crumbled piece by piece. The house went on the market first. Iris had been ruthless in exercising my ownership rights, forcing the sale despite their desperate attempts to secure financing. The for sale sign went up on day 15, and by day 25 we had a cash offer from a tech executive relocating from San Francisco. Scarlett called me exactly once during those 30 days. Dad, please. Her voice was barely a whisper. We'll do anything. We'll pay you back. We'll apologize publicly. We'll go to counseling. Just don't destroy us. Scarlett, you destroyed yourselves the moment you decided to steal from the federal government using my identity. It wasn't stealing. I was trying to help you get benefits you deserved. Even facing prison, she couldn't tell the truth. While living in luxury off my money and calling me dead weight. The line went quiet for a long moment. What do you want from us? I want exactly what you offered me that night. I want you to disappear from my life. Permanently. On day 30, I kept my promise. Iris filed the criminal complaint with the FBI's Medicare Fraud Strike Force. The federal agents arrived at their house, my former house, at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. I wasn't there to see it, but Damon's mother, Vivian Cross, called me afterward. She'd been staying with them, trying to help them find legal representation. They came with handcuffs. Ezra, Vivian said, her voice shaking. Scarlett screamed at them that her father was doing this out of spite. She actually told federal agents that you were mentally ill and vindictive. Even while being arrested for fraud, she's still trying to manipulate people. Damon just stood there like a deer in headlights. I think he finally understood they weren't getting out of this one. The local news picked up the story that evening. Carmel couple arrested in Medicare fraud scheme. They didn't mention my name, but the footage of Scarlett being led away in handcuffs was unmistakable. Her perfectly styled hair was disheveled, her designer clothes wrinkled from the jail cell. The financial reckoning was swift and merciless. The government seized their bank accounts to recover the stolen $45,000. The IRS hit them with penalties totaling $90,000. Their credit cards were canceled, their car loans called in their entire financial life dismantled, like a house of cards. But the real justice came in smaller moments. Scarlett's college friends, the ones who'd flown in for the wedding that never happened, started posting on social media about the wedding disaster and the fraud charges. The social humiliation she'd always feared became her reality. Damon lost his job when his employer discovered the federal charges. No company wanted to employ someone under investigation for financial crimes. They had to move out of their dream house and into a cramped studio apartment in Salinas, 40 minutes inland from their former paradise. 6 months after the arrests, I ran into Vivian at the grocery store in Carmel. She looked older, worn down by her son's disgrace. How are they doing? I asked, though. I wasn't sure I wanted to know. Scarlett's working at a call center. Damon's doing construction work when he can find it. They're barely making rent. She paused, studying my face. Do you ever regret it, Ezra? They are your family. I thought about Eleanor, about the dreams we'd shared, about the daughter we'd raised, who'd turned into a stranger capable of federal crimes. Vivian, the best wedding gift they ever gave me was showing me who they really were. I regret wasting 3 years and $135,000 on people who saw me as nothing but an ATM. And now I'm free. The best wedding gift was learning who they really were. I'm sitting in my new oceanfront apartment in Carmel by the sea. As I tell you this story, watching the sunset paint the Pacific in shades of gold and crimson, the sound of waves crashing against the rocks below has become my daily soundtrack, replacing the tension and walking on eggshells atmosphere I endured for 3 years. This apartment costs more per month than most people's mortgages, but I can afford it now. When the house sold, my 45% ownership netted me $127,000 after fees. Combined with the money I'm no longer hemorrhaging to support Scarlett and Damon's lifestyle, I'm actually financially better off than I've been in years. But the real wealth isn't monetary. It's the peace of mind that comes from not having to calculate every word to avoid someone's wrath. It's the freedom to make my own choices without worrying about disappointing ungrateful children. It's the dignity of being valued for who I am, not what I can provide. I've joined a book club here in the community, made friends with people who invite me to dinner because they enjoy my company, not because they need something from me. Last month I started volunteering at the local animal shelter, something Eleanor and I always talked about doing together. Eleanor's photograph sits on my mantelpiece now in a place of honor. Instead of hidden away in a guest room, I wasn't allowed to call my own. Sometimes I talk to her picture, telling her about my day, about the friends I've made, about the life I'm building. "You were right, sweetheart," I told her yesterday. "You always said that love without boundaries isn't love at all. It's just enabling." People ask me if I miss Scarlett and Damon. The honest answer is no. I miss the daughter I thought I had, the one who existed in my imagination. But I don't miss the stress, the financial drain, the constant feeling of being taken for granted. 3 weeks ago I received a letter from Scarlett, written from the county jail where she's serving 6 months before her federal sentencing. She wanted me to know she'd learned her lesson and hoped we could rebuild our relationship when she got out. I threw the letter away without finishing it. Some bridges aren't meant to be rebuilt. Some relationships aren't worth saving. The truth is, I'm happier now at 72 than I've been since Eleanor died. I wake up each morning excited about the day ahead, instead of dreading what crisis or demand awaits me. I'm dating a lovely woman named Margaret, who lost her husband 2 years ago. We take long walks on the beach and share stories about our lives, our dreams, our hard-won wisdom. If you're watching this and recognizing yourself in my story, if you're being taken advantage of by family members who treat you like an ATM, let me tell you something. You deserve better. You deserve respect, gratitude, and genuine love, not manipulation disguised as affection. Setting boundaries isn't cruel. It's necessary. Saying no to people who take advantage of your generosity isn't selfish. It's self-preservation. And sometimes the kindest thing you can do for someone is let them face the consequences of their choices. Family isn't a free pass to treat people badly. Blood relation doesn't entitle anyone to your money, your home, or your dignity. Real family, the kind worth having, would never put you in a position where you have to choose between your self-respect and their approval. I learned that lesson at 72 years old. Don't wait as long as I did. This betrayal story taught me that God gives us strength to recognize when love has become enabling. Sometimes the Lord places difficult choices before us to test our resolve and teach us self-worth. Through prayer and reflection, I realized that God doesn't want us to sacrifice our dignity for the sake of keeping peace with those who exploit us. Like many grandpa stories you hear, mine started with unconditional love and generosity. But unlike typical grandpa stories where forgiveness always wins, this one ends with boundaries and consequences. I learned that real love sometimes means saying no, even to family, especially to family. The greatest betrayal stories often reveal hidden truths about the people we thought we knew. Scarlett and Damon showed me their true characters when they believed I was powerless. But God had other plans protecting my assets through legal documents I barely remembered signing. These betrayal stories remind us that we teach people how to treat us. When we accept disrespect in the name of family loyalty, we enable destructive behavior. Setting boundaries isn't cruel, it's necessary for everyone's growth. At 72, I discovered that happiness comes from surrounding yourself with people who value you, not those who see you as a resource to exploit. If this story touched your heart, please share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Comment below with your thoughts. Have you ever had to choose between family peace and self-respect? Don't forget to subscribe for more real-life stories that inspire and empower. Your support helps us reach others who need these important life lessons.